Hello. Welcome to Enmanji Buddhist Temple's August and September 2020 Shotsukihoyo video memorial service honoring family and friends who have passed away during these months. My name is Diane Ono, co-president of our temple board of directors and your chairperson for this service. I hope wherever you are viewing this service that you are safe and well. I will begin with reading the names of our Shotsukihoyo honorees, followed by a few moments of quiet reflection. Please let us know of any omissions or corrections via our email at enmanjitemple@gmail.com. I'll do 1 month at a time. So for the month of August, Hisano Bo, Reverend Ryuichi Fuji, Hiroshi Tom Furusho, Juzo Hamamoto, Misao Ishibashi, Yayoi Kobayashi, Chiyoko Matsuda, Hideaki Matsuda, James Shigeo Miyano, Shima Namba, Yoshi Okumura, Kanuma Onomiya, Masao Otamura, Shio Shimazu, Hisako Shimizu, Ronald Tsurumoto, Fred Yokoyama, Fred Furuzawa, Charles M. Yamamoto, Shizuko Arishita, Walter Peterson, Kazumo Mukaida, Harry Hiroshi Otani, Sia Busaya Sakato, Masano Shimizu, Daniel Otani, Gabriel Gable, Shigeno Yokoyama, Meiko Endo, Mary Sakiko Noguchi, Marjorie Weeman Dangers, Dorothy Aiko Shimizu, Fumi Taji, Irene Masako Fujiki, Masaru Fujiki. Namo Amida. Namo Amida. Namo Amida. And now for the honoree names for September. Kazuye Arishita, Komao Baba, Misao Fujihara, Ichizo Furuta, Risuke Kawaoka, Takashi Kawata, Matsujiro Matsuda, Waichi Matsumoto, Taku Morita, Shikato Murakami, Susumu Otani, Miyake Taniguchi, Tojiro James Wada, Haruo Ishiguro, Minubo Furuta, Harry Sugiyama, Jimmy Tsujihara, Joyce Kawahara, Craig Mitsugi Okazaki, James Satoshi Koga, Yoneko Pat Shimizu, Satsuyo Koga, Yukiko Matsuda, Paul Dinkelspiel, Arlene Morikawa, Shigeko Taniguchi, Mabel Sumiko Okazaki, Rose Sueoka, Frank Tsunada, Sugue Ogata, Lloyd Yoshioka, Takeshi Kameoka, Florence Yamasaki, Ed Kawaoka, Morton Otani, David Murakami. Namo Amida, Namo Amida, Namo Amida, Namo Amida. Thank you. We are fortunate to have our supervising minister from Buddhist Churches of San Francisco, Reverend Ronald Kobata, to conduct the Sambujo, the 3 respectful callings, and dedication, followed by sutra chanting of Junirai, the 12 adorations. He will then deliver our Dharma message. We would like to take this time to thank him for his spiritual guidance over the past few years as he anticipates his retirement at the end of August. We wish him a smooth recovery from his recent surgery for a fractured ankle, and knowing he will be enjoying time with his grandchildren and golfing, bid him a fond farewell and keep in touch. Again, thank you, Reverend Kobata.
Namanda, 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 namandaps, namandaps, namandaps. We respectfully acknowledge the presence of Amida Tathagata entering this Dharma hall as we joyfully offer flowers of welcome. Ujo Shakanyorai Niudo respectfully acknowledge the presence of Shaka Tathagata entering this Dharma hall as we joyfully offer flowers of welcome. Ujo Jippo Nyorai Niudo We respectfully acknowledge the presence of Tathagatas of the Universal 10 Directions entering this Dharma hall as we joyfully offer flowers of welcome. Namanda, 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 namanda. Namanda, 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 namandaps, namandaps, namandaps. Honjitsu, koko ni Enmanji Buddhist Temple Sesshu tonari, うやうやしく三仏牽制の昇覧を仰ぎ、慎みて8月と9月の正月法要言宗数、如来へこの真実心をもって、法恩の誠いたし、仏徳を三端し祀る。恋願わくば、如来の大慈大悲心をもって、無料の功徳、一切至上の上にへこしたあわらんことを。Today, on the occasion of the Enmanji Buddhist Temple's observance of the August and September monthly memorial, we gather together in this virtual form to reverently come together in the spirit of boundless wisdom and compassion that is Amida Buddha, in memory of those who have preceded us into the pure land of enlightenment and who are now guiding and encouraging us on our own awakening in the truth of our oneness. So, with deepest reverence and gratitude for the all-inclusive wisdom and compassion that is Amida Buddha, we reaffirm the three treasures. Namo Kie Butsu, we take refuge in the Buddha, the timeless life of wisdom and compassion, the source of awakening. Namo Kie Ho, we take refuge in the Dharma, the universal truth of impermanence and interdependence, the illuminating light that is the Buddha's wisdom. Namo Kie So, we take refuge in the Sangha, the community of people dedicated to living harmoniously in the universal truth, a life manifesting Buddha's compassion. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Namandab, 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 namandabs, 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 namandabs. 天人職業阿弥陀千両族尊在非未明アナ国無料物資収移入本直心上如線のシャマタ行如造部両目上脈小蓮華古賀長来弥陀尊伝前炎上如満月以降有如千日月小如天空くしら古賀長来弥陀尊観音頂戴観中十修十名相法将言のぶくげどまけまん古賀長来弥陀尊無微無空故障上修徳経血尿国小さ利益徳自在古賀長来弥陀尊十法明門菩薩衆無量小魔女三段一生修上願力中古賀長来弥陀尊本体保険地所系前言少女名大座おひざ上如線の古賀長来弥陀尊一歩将来勝負し権限人図し安楽戦後尊厳上業古賀長来弥陀尊小無常無我と薬尿水月伝養老一種説法無明寺古賀長来弥陀尊非尊不説無悪名薬無如人悪道夫主任死心教非尊古賀長来弥 基礎無料法勉強無所修悪知識往生不退死菩提法が将来みだそん仮説非尊苦毒事修善無変如海水小逆前言小乗者エセ修May this merit virtue be shared equally with all beings. May we together awaken the Bodhi mind and be born in the realm of serenity and joy. Namanda, 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 namandaps, namandaps, namandaps. Namandaps, namandaps, namandaps. From the collected works of Shinran, his hymns to the Pure Land, number 92. When a person realizes the mind of non-discrimination, that attainment is the state of regarding each being as one's only child. This is none other than Buddha nature. We will all awaken to it in reaching the other shore, the Pure Land of peace. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, good life, wherever you are, as we come together to observe the Enmanji Buddhist temples, customary August and September monthly memorials dedicated to those former members of the Enmanji Sangha, who have participated in this spiritual community to bring the spirit of Nembutsu, oneness, with their families, friends, and community, to help us realize this ideal of what we call the Pure Land of Awakening, that helps us to appreciate the fact that all things and all beings are connected, for which we have the gesture of Kansho to represent and symbolically presented in the form of the Nenju, the interconnection of all life. So this, I guess, practically speaking, will be the last opportunity I'll have to join the Enmanji community as the supervising minister, because as been announced, I'll be retiring at the end of August. And if plans go according to my wish, I'll be moving up to Portland, Oregon to live with my youngest daughter's family and become a oji-chan. So for this occasion, I've been invited to participate in this August and September Shotsuki observance. And I managed to hobble my way up here using crutches due to an unfortunate, unforeseen accident. Well, clumsiness on my part, but anyway. So I'm standing here on my right leg with my left leg resting on a chair. So whatever it looks like on camera, well, it's not the whole picture. So with that, I would like to offer for this August and September Shotsuki reflection what I'm calling the Hawaii theme. A Hawaii theme because it's based upon some stories that I've shared in the past that I heard while I was in Hawaii. And so for today's, as I was reminded by Kevin, a sob story, the sense of being, the stories that give us a sense of being as an alternative to the expression Dharma talk, which, as some of you might be familiar in Japanese, is a howa. And then I was so appreciative when Kevin Iwamura shared with me that there is an expression in the Cherokee language where they use the expression howa, which stands for the congregation or the gathering, preparing themselves to hear and receive the story with respect and attention. And so hoa in the Cherokee expression stands for, I'm ready to listen. I'm ready to listen. And that's, I guess, the spirit for which we gather together in the temple. The spirit of hoa, preparing to listen and receiving what we call the Dharma. The truth, the reality of our life. And with that awareness, begin to realize a profound sense of appreciation or gratitude for this finite existence that, as the pandemic is teaching us, is so unpredictable, so unprecedented. But the fact is, from the Dharma perspective, that's life. Everything's unprecedented by virtue of the fact that everything's always changing, never staying the same. And on that basis, then, it's natural to recognize that everything's unpredictable. Nothing's predetermined, nothing's set by fate. Everything is constantly changing and interacting and becoming. This is the Dharma. This is life. So in keeping with the Hawaii theme, I'd like to begin with a story that I read and found so inspirational, where I happened to be reading an autobiography of the late Lieutenant Colonel Ellison Onizuka, which I'm pretty sure that many of you are familiar with who he was. He was the first Japanese-American astronaut. And unfortunately, about 30-something years ago, he was part of the Challenger mission, which had a catastrophic accident upon launching. And as a result, the space shuttle was destroyed and all the astronauts on board died. But anyway, while I was in Hawaii, I happened to be reading a biography of Ellison. And in it, there was a really, to me, interesting thought where he shared an anecdote about when he came back from the first space shuttle that he was able to participate in. And so on that shuttle trip, he said to his mom, "When I was looking out into the universe from that space shuttle, I felt I saw the Pure Land." And as you may be aware, that Ellison Onizuka was raised at the Kona Honganji on the Big Island of Hawaii. And he was, during his youth, the president of the statewide Junior YBA, or Young Buddhist Association. So he and his family was very involved with the temple, the Honganji. I mean, that's the institutional name of our denomination. And so I thought that was amazing, that how he was able to make the connection from his experience as an astronaut to appreciate the spiritual awareness that he had realized from hearing the teachings growing up in Hawaii. Because he shared how when he felt he saw the Pure Land, he added, when explaining to his mom, no boundaries, no boundaries. And I thought that's an amazing sense of what Pure Land represents, or Pure Land helps us to experience about life. That it's beyond any concepts, beyond any limited perceptions, assumptions that we may create in our own intellectual conceiving of life. No boundaries. And I think this speaks to how the sense of Black Lives Matter, to understand that all the kinds of prejudices, all the kinds of restrictions, the limitations, the walls that we create around us are basically the sense of limitation, restriction, bondage. So the Pure Land celebrates the sense of liberation, the opening up of our hearts and minds to appreciate the truth, the reality, that there are no boundaries in life. Yeah, we create it for our own convenience, perhaps, our own misguided sense of benefit or advantage, distinction. But as Shinran mentioned in his poem, the state of regarding each being as one's only child, this is the world or mind of non-discrimination, where we realize this Buddha nature and thereby awaken in it and realize and reach the land of peace. So that's one Hawaii story that connects to our Pure Land tradition of appreciating the spiritual sense of the realm, the truth of the world of no boundaries, the world of peace. So in keeping with the so-called Hawaii theme, I'd like to share a story that I've used in the past, but I think I'd like to make a connection for this occasion, where I call it the Hawaii story, in that it just happened that I heard it in Hawaii. It could have happened in anywhere, but it just seemed to work because of the unique surroundings and situation of the story that I heard third hand. And it involved a situation where there was this local guy, meaning that somebody who was born and raised in Hawaii, was waiting to catch an inter-island flight back to Maui, where I was assigned to a temple. And so as he was sitting in the passenger lounge waiting for his flight, the story goes, he happened to overhear a conversation behind him. And he heard somebody say, "I came to Hawaii to die." And so the local guy, I guess he got a little surprised and concerned about what he had overheard. So he leaned over to try to follow the conversation. And as he was listening further, it occurred to him that he had overheard a person who had just arrived from Australia. And as a result, we would say, well, the visitor spoke with a Australian accent. So what the visitor was actually saying, "I came to Hawaii today." So the local guy heard what he heard, and the visitor said what he said, but that's one of those examples of not something being lost in translation, but kind of gotten confused or misperceived, misheard, misperceived in the sense that, we all have our own filters, the way that we kind of look at things and feel about things or hear things go through a certain degree of filtration through our own experience. And so we perceive things not necessarily as they are, but as we hear or think or feel about anything. And so that's part of Buddhist awareness, to see the limitations of our perceptions and not be so confident, believing that what I see and what I think and what I feel here is real, authentic. In other words, to recognize fake news, to recognize propaganda, that we're fed, different things, different ideas, just from one particular vantage point. But anyway, so, that's the funny thing about that story. But at the same time, it occurred to me later that in an existential or spiritual way, at least from what I understand to be a Buddhist perspective, was or is that we were born to die to this notion of me, myself, and I as an independent, unchanging entity unto myself. That's the basic cause of our dis-ease, dukkha, a miscomprehension, a misperception of what I am, let alone what the world is that I'm a part of. And so that, to me, is how this idea of awakening isn't to come to realize some concept or some belief, but rather a realization of how my life here and now is a reflection of my thoughts. So in a way, I'm creating the world in which I live. But the idea of dying, being born to die, is the sense of what we call awakening. To realize, to break out of our shell, our ego shells that recently the current Gomonshu, Kojun Otani, shared in our pledge. to break out of our ego-centered shells. That's the spiritual awakening we could call birth in the Pure Land liberation, for which we respond in gratitude. So this is how I see the spiritual journey that we're all on as a path of dying to the ego, but then being reborn, awakened, liberated to the sense of oneness in which we all live together. And as I mentioned that I learned while I was in Hawaii, Aloha. To realize the spirit of Aloha, which, as it was taught to me, originally meant the breath of life, the breath of God, Aloha. And so the spirit of Aloha is one of the acronyms that I was inspired to come up with, and that I'd like to offer as we conclude this August-September Enmanji Buddhist Temple Shotsuki observance with that sense of Aloha, and then finally Mahalo. The acronym that I was inspired to come up with for Aloha was simply ALOHA, actively living open-hearted awareness. This can be also a way of describing what, to me, the Nembutsu conveys. It's an active consciousness, awareness of the heart of the Buddha Dharma. That open-hearted awareness is what brings us together. And awareness, yeah, we're all finite, fallible, or as we use that expression, foolish beings. But this is the heart of compassion that helps us to realize it. And it's that heart that helps us to come together in Aloha. And that's why the Hawaii theme was something that I felt would be meaningful for me anyway, to connect, to share with the Enmanji Buddhist Temple community. Not as a cultural tradition, but as a spiritual awareness that we come together as this Sangha, spiritual community, to affirm this sense of an open-hearted awareness that helps us to realize what it means to live and die in the light of the Dharma. So, finally, I'll close with another acronym that actually Lauren Miyazaki suggested recently that I come up with for the Hawaiian expression Mahalo. Mahalo, I think some of you are familiar with, is the word for thank you in the Hawaiian culture, to express thanks, appreciation. And that seems to me what our Shin Buddhist tradition is helping us to nurture, realize, cultivate in our everyday life. A sense of gratitude, appreciation. So as I conclude this talk, I'd like to express my mahalo, or appreciation, to the Enmanji Buddhist Temple for the past 6 years of serving as the supervising minister, and hope or encourage that the community, the Sangha, continue to live with the spirit of Aloha, the awareness of Nembutsu that helps guide us to what we call the other shore of peace and understanding. And so to offer the acronym for Mahalo, Mahalo, mindfully aware how appreciation links oneness. The sense of appreciation comes out of that awareness of the oneness of our life, that we don't exist alone. And this is what I'm feeling some people are beginning to appreciate in the midst of sheltering in place, staying at home, is giving us the occasion to stop and reflect and really begin to consider and realize what is essential in life. You know, we're talking about essential workers, essential things that are going on. And some of the other things that used to be kind of perhaps distractions are becoming less so, because we're beginning to develop a sensitivity, whether it's new or old, but at least clearly aware of how absolutely dependent we are for everything that's happening around us. You know, just the fact that, you know, we have this technological means to communicate. You know, it's because there's electricity, because there's some source of energy that people who are knowledgeable and capable are maintaining. And, you know, the pandemic is making us more aware of our responsibilities to each other, of trying to maintain hygiene, keeping things clean and safe. That's everyone's responsibility. So as we keep repeating, we're all in this together. And that's the basic fact, the basic truth. Reality, again, not as a concept or a belief. The Buddha woke up to the truth, the reality of our oneness. And so that's the spirit on which I would offer and conclude the August-September Shotsuki Memorial Reflection with this spirit of Mahalo. Mindfully aware how appreciation links, connects oneness. That we affirm in the simple phrase, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Nam Mandabutsu, Nam Mandabutsu, Nam Mandabutsu. Aloha.
Thank you, Reverend Kobata, for that wonderful Dharma message. We'll miss you. Next, please recite the Golden Chain affirmation with me as we close this service. I am a link in Amida's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. I will be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that on what I do now depends not only my happiness or unhappiness, but also that of others. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida, Namo Amida, Namo Amida. This will conclude our service. Thank you for joining us, and we wish you the best health and peace of mind at this difficult time of global pandemic and social justice issues. Many thanks to Reverend Ron Kobata for the wonderful Dharma talk, to Kinu Iwamoto for the flowers and osonae, and to those who contributed to the streamed video service, including Daryl Yagi, and especially to Kevin Iwamura for his valued videography, webmaster, and music skills. As always, anyone wishing and able to offer donations may do so on our website at enmanjitemple.com or by postal mail to Enmanji Buddhist Temple, 1200 Gravenstein Highway South, Sebastopol, California, 95472. Please take care. Thank you again. Lamanda, Lamanda, Lamanda.